Welcome to Radiant Health, everyone. Let's see if I can mute just for the beginning. Tonight, I'm going to start with reading something from Beloved Baba. And we'll let this energy, like his words of the atom bombs that they have, seem so relevant to right now. And this is from what Baba means by real work. And he wrote this, or, he expressed this in India in 1954. And he was addressing a large crowd of his workers. And this is what Mayor Baba said. This is no political or social meeting. The meeting for which you have assembled here, and for which is the first of its kind that I have held in 60 years, is for the divine cause. This assemblage reminds me of former meetings during my previous incarnations. Then circumstances were different, but since eternity is the same, God incarnate has been presiding over such meetings for the same cause, the divine cause. Thus, never has it been more truly said than in the spiritual cause that history repeats itself. Even if this meeting were to take all night for what I have to say, I would not mind, because this one night would be worth millions of nights if you all honestly live up to and act according to what I wish for my real workers. The apostles and the Asaba, who worked for the divine cause, did my work at the very cost of life itself. So heed my words most attentively. And this reading goes on and on and on. I highly recommend reading it, but the line that has inspired this meeting tonight is this quote, where Baba says, I want my lovers and workers to know there is no greater Baba center than the heart of my lover. Those who truly love me are my centers in the world. Let each Baba lover, wherever he or she may be a Baba center personified, radiating the eternal message of love divine, living the life of love, sacrifice, and honesty. And I'm going to read that again. I want my lovers and workers to know that there is no greater Baba center than the heart of my lover. Those who truly love me are my centers in the world. Let each Baba lover, wherever he or she may be a Baba center personified, radiating the eternal message of love divine, living the life of love, sacrifice, and honesty. Hello, wonderful people. So that being a Baba center personified, I think I've always heard that quote. I say that as part of my prayers and affirmations, that I am a Baba center personified, radiating his eternal message of love divine, living a life of love, sacrifice, honesty. And then I try to think of everything like Baba has said: cheerfulness, enthusiasm, equipoise, faith, compassion, all of the attributes of the aspirant and more, all of those divine qualities. So to this evening, about what it means to be a Baba center personified, I thought that we would begin by just having a quiet moment to reflect on the first time that you went to any Baba center, whether it was here, India, Australia. Here means Myrtle Beach to me, even though I'm in New Jersey here. So let's just take a moment and to take some time to remember the first time that you entered what you would call a Baba center. And just take some time to remember how that felt. And if you want, you can close your eyes. And then you can bring yourself back, remembering the feeling of what it was like the first time that you remember being at a Baba center, or whatever have flashed into your memory of that feeling of being in that hallowed ground, in that sacred space dedicated by Baba for us, for you, for all of humanity, all of existence. And breathing into that feeling, just the remembrance of it then radiates. Is there anyone that would like to share what they've remembered and what they're feeling with regards to where they were, the first Baba Center, or any Baba Center that is what's come up in your experience right now, to share what that feels like to you, what you remembered? You can just unmute.
Yeah, I'll go. I was just remembering, well, I guess different images were popping into my mind, but I was enjoying the feeling of lightness that I get, the feeling of ease and well-being that just sort of comes over me when I drive in through the gates of the center at Myrtle Beach, or the times that I've been in India as well. There's Williams coming to say hi too. We're talking about the Baba Center, Will, and how it makes us feel. You want to say anything about that?
Hi.
Hi, sweetie pie. Wait, William Maher, when you're at the Baba Center, what does it feel like to you? Do you remember? Hi, Jolie Bliss. When you're at the Baba Center, what does it feel like to you?
Yeah.
It feels like being at the beach.
Yeah, it does feel like being at the beach.
And you can just hear the ocean.
You can hear the ocean. Yeah, the Baba Center. Yeah. It's
That's
good.
so beautiful. I really did feel for tonight the children, like for them to have that voice. So I'm so grateful for your kids to be there right now.
Yeah. How about for you, Will? What's it feel like being at the Baba Center?
It feels like being at Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. That's right. We have one experience in Mexico too, with Aunt Jessica, who's right there. Baba Center. Yeah. That's pretty cool too.
That's so awesome.
This
is like family night at the Baba Center, so feel free to unmute if anyone wants to share to anybody else. It's really beautiful. I remember when William Maher was born, I was at the Baba Center staying at the guest house. And I remember that feeling of getting the text that your mom was going into labor, William Maher, and that you were then born. Mm-hmm. And I was wearing this string around my wrist for remembering to support your family. And I remember cutting that off, and I actually buried it outside of Baba's bedroom, outside of his abode the next day. So there's somewhere under there. I know I shouldn't have done it, but if I had to, like Baba says, live a life of love, sacrifice, and honesty, I thought that right then. I'm like, but I have to be honest if I want to be a Baba Center personified. It was just a little piece of thread that I just stuck under the mulch.
Yeah. By now it's disintegrated into the dirt. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Would anyone else like to share their experiences of their remembrance of the first time, or really something that's impressing them right now of being at any of the Baba Centers on this planet?
Well, I can definitely remember my experience of the first time, because at least consciously I was relatively clueless. But I was so taken with how the people around me were feeling. So I just sort of let my heart lead the way. I had really no idea what to expect. And so I felt rather awestruck and a little like floating in chocolate. So, and it was everywhere, you know, whether I was in a building or in a outside or walking or just breathing the air. It was definitely an experience of like living in an altered state for a rather extended period of time. And then I also remember.
Thank you for sharing that.
I'm sorry.
I said, thank you for sharing that, but keep going.
Oh, well, I also have a very clear image of talking to Annie, and there was this shrub right outside the kitchen that felt like a chuppah to me, which is, in Judaism is like sort of the wedding vow. And when you're getting married, you stand underneath a chuppah. And yeah, so I really fell in love with Baba, and it felt like I got married there.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
That was good.
Who else would like to share what it felt like or feels like to them being at a Baba center?
Well, I could share. I was vacillating between the first time that I went to a center, which was Mirabad, or when I went to my Baba contact's house in Jerusalem, which was basically like the center where I would go in the beginning and where I would get my books and where we would have gatherings on weekends and daily readings with her. And just, I was just recalling that feeling the first time when I went there and knew that I wanted to check out some books. I'm like, it's time. So it was just recollecting that sense of like, you know, diving. So I like that.
Beautiful. Diving. I like that, diving in to Baba. How about anyone else who would like to share an experience of what it means to you to be at the Baba Center, or to the first time, or whatever experience is coming to you?
I'll share. It wasn't the first time, but it was maybe one of the times coming back for Youth Sahavas. And I can remember coming up and seeing the big sign hung up that said "Welcome Home," and feeling that so much, because especially in high school, being able to disconnect from what I felt like was sometimes a really stressful experience in high school, and just come to this place of feeling belonging and love, was just the most amazing experience. So I feel very fondly to have been able to have that experience in high school.
I feel that all through my crown, Jessica, all through my whole body. And for this precious baby that's going to be emerging into this energy of welcome home to her, to her home now. Oh, I feel that really strongly.
That's really
like she's
sweet.
coming to us.
Thanks, Cindy.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you, baby girl.
Well, I can share. I'd love to share. This is Inga. Oh my God.
I'm a Baba lover.
Oh my God, I love Baba so much. I can say that the first, of course, the one memory that sticks out is going to India and like being there, and the feeling that I had was like just this incredible sense of stillness in my whole body. Like every cell in my body just stopped and bowed. And it was like the moment I knew I was completely home. And I mean, I remember feeling that like in pockets when I would go to Myrtle Beach, but like it was so overwhelming to my senses when I got to India. And I just like now when I think back of like I love this idea of like being a center, because when I'm like really going through something, that's the place that I go to. I call it like the samadhi within. It's like that like stillness that I feel when I'm in Myrtle Beach or when I'm in India, like that feeling of total surrender to greater, to Baba in me. And so I love that like concept of that. Thanks for asking that, Cindy.
Thank you, Baba, for the inspiration for writing all of that. Would anyone else like to share what it means to them to feel like the feeling of being at a Baba center or an experience? I'll share. I have two distinct memories. The first time that I was at the Baba Center, I convinced my family that the Baba Center was close to Duke University because we were doing college touring, which it's not. And, and I remember the minivan driving down Route 17, and it was an unhappy group because we're now hours away from the college touring. And I remember turning around and saying to the kids, what if it's true? What if it's true that Jesus didn't just come once, which always made me crazy as a kid? What if we're going to the home of Christ? What if we're going to where Christ walked, stood, held, like has that energy? What if? And everyone got quiet. I think we felt that. And we were only on the center overnight, which they thought was crazy that we arrived at 6 p.m. and we're leaving at 11 a.m., but we were on this college tour thing. And I think it was Walter who took us around. And I remember thinking that he is either the most, this is not good English, the most nicest, kindest, gentlest soul on the planet, or he's nuts. Like, you know, like could someone actually be that calm and nice? And I mean, I got 4 kids that are going crazy, you know, the ex-husband now, like, rrr. I mean, it was like Family Circus or some sort of like Peanuts thing. You could see Linus's smoke, or not Linus, Pigpen's smoke, you know, dirt all over. And I remember that distinctly, that feeling of who could talk like this about a place. And then the other memory that came to me when I was in this with you all was at an Amortithi, and maybe the second or third that I attended. I remember being in the barn during the fire and during the silence, and I never did quite understand how God could love everyone. I think there was some kind of competition. Like I remember like Jean Adriel was like, she always wanted to be like Mara, and she was a little jealous of Mara's position with Baba. But I kind of got that, like, how could God love us all with that depth? And in that moment, Baba lifted the veil, and I just felt it. Unconditional, infinite love for everyone and everything, no divisions, no separateness. And that I feel like being a Baba Center, like what that means to me, that unconditional love for everyone and everything. Like that quote that was in last month's calendar, forgiveness of the created is embedded in the act of creation. And as Baba said, forgiveness and love being one, synonymous. And so feeling that now in this moment. And then in this moment, I'm going to invite us to take a moment to consider all the places on this planet that we know are Baba centers, like the ones that you know of, that you've visited or just read about, whether it's Prague or Australia or Meher Mount or whatever it is just to take just a moment to visit those energetically and to feel the energy of it. And then when you're ready, you can gently bring yourself back to the time and space where you are right now while keeping the energy of what you just experienced. And breathing into it. And then as you come back, ask yourself this question: what can I share right now that would bring this into more radiance, that would help it radiate to the people on the Zoom, the people that will watch it in the recording, the people and everything in existence right now? And I'm going to answer that question first. What I can share is that I went to Avatar's Abode in Australia, where I've never been before. And the message that I am feeling and radiating is there's so much more love for me and for us than I could ever possibly imagine. And it's been well placed by God for us. Just waiting for us to drink in at our invitation. And then if anyone else would like to share what they experienced or what they would like to share, you can unmute yourself.
Well, I went to the Samadhi, and I mean, in truth, that's not an uncommon experience for me, because what I come to know there is just a profound sense of calm and peace. And Baba's message being that when we invite ourselves to relax and just be, we're automatically there.
Beautiful, thank you.
First second that I did it, I went to the right side of the samadhi. Just went there. I'm like, why not the left? The right. Okay, so I went to the right. And then I realized, I'm like, Karen, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Like then I remember, I'm like, I often think, just put yourself at the samadhi. You can do it with your mind. Guess I needed an invitation. Thank you.
Oh, how sweet. Baba invited you to be with him on his right side at the right hand.
All right.
Or I guess it's his left hand.
It's his left.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
I felt like that too, Karen. I went to the lagoon cabin. It was so nice and quiet and peaceful and still, and hearing the cicadas from the center. I just love that. And anyway, I had that same feeling. Why don't I come here more? This is so beautiful. Yeah.
What am I so busy doing?
Yeah.
I was kind of busy doing. I felt like I was hopping to all these different, like Prague and California, like all the places that you mentioned that I had to like visit, but I didn't really know how to, like some of them I have not been to, so I didn't really have a direct experience. So I don't know if I'm contributing to radiance. That's why. But I felt like I was a little bit everywhere. But what I can say is today with the election, Jake and I were talking a lot about all the divisiveness that's happening, you know, like the pole, like the opposites and the temptation to be against this person or that person or and just we were both feeling today in really strong ways the unity of life, you know, and just the invitation to be a beacon of love wherever we go, you know, wherever I go and who I'm with in that moment, and not to focus so much on the politics and what's going to happen, because that's really what matters most, is our own sort of personal responsibility of being love and, you know, and inclusive and all those things. So maybe I was going to all those places to, I'll make it nice somehow and to like bring them together or to feel the unity in all those places. Something like that.
Yes, because, you know, as Baba says, you're infinite, you know, you're powerful to do that, Katie. I could see you visiting those places. And like Baba says, for all things, linking it together like beads on one string. Like I can feel that with whatever Baba has planned for us, how we get to serve, how we get to experience this. I feel that is something that's happening. Baba like using us for the highest and healthiest healing for us individually and collectively, as he always does. Would anyone else like to share?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can hear you, Marinas.
Hi. I had similar experience to Katie. Did I say it right, Katie? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I felt myself floating, going to different centers, and the Samadhi in India and Myrtle Beach, and in my mind, I couldn't settle to one place, and all I felt was extreme beams of light, and like the whole thing is just all of a sudden I saw Earth, all like just beams of light, that we are all one. It's just one light, and it felt so filling. I don't know how to explain it. So filling inside, and it was just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And so if no one else wants to share at this moment, we're going to move into the meditation to bring this to completion at 8:14. 44, I love 44. That's how many years Baba was silent, you know, and 1944, the center was dedicated, and plus I think double numbers are really cool. So 4 directions and all sorts of things. And so I invite you just to get comfortable wherever you are, if you're not already super comfortable. And I'm going to read again what I read in the beginning with something else. So these are Baba's words addressing a large group gathering of his devotees and workers. And he said, and imagine that he's saying this now to you. This is no political or social meeting. The meeting for which you have all assembled here, and which is the first of its kind that I have held in 60 years of my life, is for the divine cause. This assemblage reminds me of former meetings during my previous incarnations. Then the circumstances were different, but since eternity, the same God incarnate has been presiding over such meetings for the same cause, the divine cause. Thus, never has it been more truly said than in the spiritual cause that history repeats itself. Even if this meeting were to take all night for what I have to say, I would not mind, because this one night would be worth millions of nights if you all honestly live up and act according to what I wish for my real workers. So heed my words most attentively. I want my lovers to know that there is no greater Baba center than the heart of my lover. Those who truly love me are my centers in the world. Let each Baba lover, wherever he or she may be a Baba center personified, radiating the eternal message of love divine, living the life of love, sacrifice, and honesty. And Baba concludes this message with, if you had even the tiniest glimpse of my divinity, all doubts would vanish and love, real love, would be established. Illusion has such a tight grip on you that you forget reality. Your life is a shadow. The only reality is existence eternal, which is God. The only reality is existence eternal, which is God. And then resting in the messages from precious Baba, letting yourself be a Baba center personified, radiating, which means to emit in rays or waves like light, to project or glow. Let radiate from your form all of this wonderful energy that you've had the blessing to cultivate over your lifetime, and specifically in your relationship to what it means to be a Baba Center personified. Whether it be in the lagoon cabin in Myrtle Beach, or in Avatar's abode in Australia, or in Samadhi in India, or in Mayhair Mountain, California, or in Prague. Letting yourself be a vessel of Baba's peace, an instrument of the eternal message of love divine. And as you breathe, just let it naturally come through you, most natural, just allowing Baba to flow from you, from every pore, every cell, every organ system, every thought, radiating how you know to be a Baba Center personified. And let it emit from you in 360 degrees as you are light, you are love in motion. And taking deep breaths into your natural state. To be a Baba Center personified, radiating his eternal message of love divine, living a life of love, sacrifice, which comes from the Latin root to make holy, and honesty. It is our natural state. It's easeful when we allow it. And then you can bring yourself back with some deep breaths and open your eyes whenever you're ready. Still pulsating the peace and well-being and welcoming and belonging and all of those incredible attributes, the experiences that we've all been blessed to have and are blessed in this moment to radiate for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, for our countries, for the world. Jai Baba, dear people. Baba.
Jai Baba.